In Storm over Ryloth, we had the opportunity with this large-scale invasion to give the Jedi different tasks in accomplishing the recapture of Ryloth.
I'm ordering you to return to the ship.
I think very early on we wanted to do a thematic, tell a thematic story about the real costs of war.
We have to break that blockade. The Twi'leks on Ryloth are depending on us.
I understand that, Master, but we've lost so many men.
And this first story, Storm over Ryloth, we really wanted to show what are the casualties of war, what happens to the innocent people who happen to be on these planets when this giant war is raging around them.
Here we go.
To me, this was a really big moment for Ahsoka because she's tasked with the responsibility of these pilots.
All right, boys, let's clear a path.
Right away, sir.
Originally in the script, Anakin was out flying a fighter squadron with Ahsoka at the beginning of the battle. And then George came in and said, well, let's put Anakin on the bridge. So we have a moment where Anakin, has to trust his Padawan and say, you go do it, because I've got to look at the battle as a whole.
My power converters, they're failing.
Just stay with me, Axe.
Ahsoka leads some troops into battle on her own, and those pilots have some of the nicest helmet designs. They were all designed by Tim Brock. And they're all actually very sort of reminiscent of samurai flower and lotus designs, but they're very simple graphic shapes. I just thought they worked really well. The sort of blue areas that run across the helmets are very sort of distinctive and unique, to the point where it's a shame that they all just get blown up so quickly.
I can't shake them! I can't help you, Axe. I've got my own problems.
In the past, we've had Ahsoka against battle droids, super battle droids, regular battle droids. She has yet to really be pitted against somebody who's a really cunning commander. And in this episode, we created this Nemoidian Martuk.
Patience. Let's see what trickery the Jedi have planned for us.
I really liked Martuk as a character. He's definitely quite similar in a lot of ways to Newt Gunray. And when the model came back from overseas, really all that had happened was they'd swapped the hat, given him some shoulder pads and stuck glasses on him and sort of gone, there you go. But it just didn't work. I mean, it looked like Newt Gunray wearing glasses and a funny hat, or a different funny hat. It just didn't look like the intended design. So I remember that I actually stayed pretty late that night to do a paint over, just to sort of show how you would need to change the mouth and do a couple of little different things just to really make it look like what we were hoping Martuk would look like. It was definitely worth it just to sort of fine-tune him and get the sort of Mick Jagger, Donald Rumsfeld, mouth in there and really make him different to Newt Gunray.
I am certain this Skywalker will return. His ultimate defeat shall be my greatest victory.
You want to say where the name Martuk comes from?
It actually is named after Dave's cat. His name is Took, so I named the Nemoidian Admiral after his kitty.
He's a good cat.
The little sort of blinking red and blue thing on the side of his goggles was not really intended to happen. It was meant to just be a glass sort of scope on one side and metal on the other. And when it went overseas, I think they just decided to do it themselves. And enough people liked it and thought it looked interesting that it just sort of stayed.
All right, Ahsoka. We're ready to get underway.
Master, are you sure you won't reconsider this?
When we were shooting this episode, Brian O'Connell, the director, and I were looking at the footage and the dailies coming in, and there seemed to be something that wasn't adding up in the story. You weren't really getting that Ahsoka felt bad about losing these guys. You weren't really getting the tension and the drama. So this was one of those cases where we did a really big overhaul in editorial. And one of the things that when I was doing that, I added was the scenes where you see Ahsoka looking at the holographic table. The plan she uses where she rotates the Jedi cruiser on its side and the Y-wings fly out from underneath is actually a strategy that I read about in Timothy Zahn's novel, Heir to the Empire. And Grand Admiral Thrawn uses a very similar technique of turning his Star Destroyer on its side to lure the enemy in, thinking that the Star Destroyer is vulnerable. Then he launches all his TIE fighters out from underneath it, around, and you basically, it's like a pincher's movement. You capture your enemy by drawing them in.
We've been outflanked. Affirmative.
I actually drew that image when I was a kid. After Heir of the Empire came out, I drew a picture of the Marg Sable maneuver with the big Star Destroyer on its side, and I just thought that was a great image. And then all these years later, to get to actually film a Jedi cruiser rotating up on its side, I mean,
Pretty cool.
that was pretty exciting.
That a girl.